Good afternoon. I'm bringing you today the case of Jay. The case of Jay is loaded with symptoms. Summing them up, he is 39-year-old white Jewish male, married for 19 years and has 3 children. The chief complaint that he brought to us is anxiety and depression, both of which are important to remember for Jay's diagnosing. Reported moody and depressed since late fall. This preceded the medication of being sick with the flu in January. February, he was treated with Lantronex. In the fall, Jay was getting rougher and grouchier with the kids. He has a son who's 15, a daughter who's 12, and a son who's 9. Jay's father has a history of being depressed and having mood swings. He was treated with electroconvulsive therapy, ECT. This is also important to remember for the diagnosing as well. Jay was psychotic, according to his wife, in the ambulance, claiming people were plotting against him and that he was poisoned. Jay reports his concentration is off and that he is depressed and cannot cope. And he constantly worries he is going to be fired or something bad is going to happen at his job. Jay reports excessive, repetitive, obsessive-compulsive-like mannerisms, such as banging up against the door 4 times each time he closed the refrigerator, looking for dust and particles underneath the furniture, and if he found them, he had to completely vacuum the entire room, cleaning in excess, counting cans and cabinets, being sure that he had even numbers of cans. Jay also had a suicide attempt, banging his head and trying to choke himself, and reports lack of sleep, only getting 2 to 3 hours a night. These are the symptoms that really popped out, and there's quite a few of them, as you can see. The decision-making process was intense for this case. My partner and I were very thorough in our collective work, yet still came to 2 very different diagnoses. This brought us to the decision tree for depressed mood, where we were able to agree with certainty as it applies to learner's knowledge on our diagnosis for Jay. Due to the many overlapping features of symptoms present in various diagnoses, the largest factor in elimination was duration of symptoms present and age of symptoms presenting themselves. There were 3 initial diagnoses that I encountered: medication, substance-induced anxiety disorder, disruptive mood dysregulation disorder, and schizophrenia. Medication, substance-induced anxiety disorder was excluded based on the side effects of his medications not meeting criteria, as well as his symptoms pre-existing the medications he was currently taking. Disruptive mood dysregulation was the second, and disruptive mood dysregulation disorder, Jay would not meet criteria based on a defining number of outbursts and anger being most of the day, nearly every day. Jay had expressed agitation at times, according to the report, and hostility in a few cases. However, there was not a daily occurrence that was noted. Schizophrenia. In reading on symptoms of schizophrenia, 2 stood out that applied to Jay's case: persecutory delusions and avolition. Persecutory delusions are defined as, for example, the belief that one is going to be harmed, harassed, and so forth by an individual, organization, or other group. Jay has exhibited persecutory delusions, both in ambulance and as well as believing that the people that were testing him were FBI agents that were coming after him. It also defined abolition as a decrease in motivated, self-initiated, purposeful activities. Jay previously was avid about working out and doing things, and he had expressed that he no longer liked doing those things. The individual may sit for long periods of time and show little interest in participating in work or social activities. Hostility and aggression that Jay had displayed towards his children is also a symptom of schizophrenia. Ultimately, schizophrenia was not chosen as a diagnosis because there was too many criteria that Jay did not meet. Major depressive disorder with mood incongruent psychotic features was a diagnosis we chose. That's 296.34 F33.3 provisional. F42.2 obsessive compulsive disorder with absent insight, delusional beliefs was also provisional as a secondary diagnosis as well. The Z codes chosen were parent-child relation problem, Z62, Z63.4 uncomplicated bereavement, Z91.49 other personal history of psychological trauma, Z62.811 personal history, past history of psychological abuse and childhood experience with his stepmother, and Z61.3 events resulting in loss of self-esteem in childhood as a result of what happened to his mother, as well as his biological mother passing at age 11. So Jay met most of the MDD criterion according to the DSM. His flight affect and dysphoric mood, his delusions of plotting against him. So the flight affect and dysphoric mood I like to go back to because that met criterion A1. His delusions of plotting against him, loss of interest and pleasures, which was criterion A2. His rapid weight loss when not dieting, 24 pounds, criterion A3. Increased irritability, aggression towards children, psychomotor agitation, OCD-like behavior, met criterion A5. That was having to bang his head up against the refrigerator 4 times, looking under the furniture, whatnot. And having to count the cans of food in the kitchen, making sure there were always an even number of cans. Jay also only spent 2 to 3 hours per night, which fits criterion A4, issues with concentration, criterion A8, and suicide attempts and ideology meet criterion A9. The genetic disposition is also a factor, as MDD first-degree family members of individuals with major depressive disorder have a risk for major depressive disorder 2 to 4-fold higher than that of the general population. And as we mentioned previous to this, that's where his father fell in, as his father was treated with ECT for his major depressive disorder. And at this point, because of that, because his father having it and him being a first-degree family member, Jay was 40% more likely to obtain the MDD. He met almost all points of the criterion for this. So we're pretty solid, even though provisional was still made based on wanting to have more information on Jay. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good night.